once it is completed, is given to the community board. The community board then will hold a public hearing, and once that public hearing is held, they will vote on whether it goes to the City Planning Commission and then to the City Council. What you see here on the left is the Newtown Creek as it comes into the East River. And I'm showing it to you because I happen to have this slide, but also because I wanted to point out how gray it is. There are many uses along the Newtown Creek that are used for open spaces that really presently have no green. Many of the cases are underutilized. Some of the uses you see here are no longer in existence, others are. These are some of the scenes, again, from vantage points in Greenpoint. This is a photograph taken at one of the streets that goes into the Newtown Creek, and you can see the Empire State Building in the background, the water in front, and what could be potentially a really good access point to the water, either for a park, either for water access for canoes or kayaking, or something of that nature that people can begin to hand launch or mechanically launch boats into the water. The photograph on the right, as most of you know, is the East River, some of the piers that have been broken down and are now closed off that at one time were publicly accessible. The other one is to reclaim the East River waterfront as a publicly accessible walkway and promenade and build a residential and public access connection from Greenpoint's historic and existing residential community to a new revitalized and publicly accessible waterfront. We use the term walkway and promenade, but we don't mean anything that's necessarily formal or uniform along the way. In some cases, it may be the way we saw it on Grand Street. In other places, it may take on the characteristics of more of a formal promenade.
You are so beautiful, sweetie. You're not gonna
What we're doing now is we're putting a kayak in the water in Newtown Creek, and one of the things we're seeing is how difficult it really is to access the creek.
Boy, great! Woo! Very fun!
Za duży wiatr dzisiaj. Im więcej do przodu, tak nie ma takiego odbicia słonecznego.
This is the typical, rather than atypical use of our waterfront. And as you can see, we have soda cans, plastic bottles, condoms, paper bags, tar paper, bricks, unknown things, car parts, truck parts, concrete blocks. And yet even amongst all this, here we have a whole bunch of, I don't know what they're called. I think they're called mugwort. Trying to grow, trying to prosper, trying to flourish. Some ducks in the water. Some people out fishing on India Street Pier. So once again, we have nature encroaching despite people's absolute abuse of the land. What we're trying to do is we feel as if we can access the water and start using it, people will start respecting it more and realize that it's something here for everybody's both pleasure and survival.
This is every day now, 5, 6, 7 hours a day.
Okay, John.
Now the pier is beyond repair, and there's only one thing they have to do. They have to build above the pier, and new pilings It'll be good there for the fishermen there. It'll be good there for senior citizens, women with children. Come to sunbathe and enjoy this beautiful scenery, this skyline here of Manhattan, which is beautiful.
Are we going to wait for more disasters? Residents are drawn to the waters that surround Greenpoint. Unfortunately, we are held as prisoners without easy access to the grand view of the Manhattan skyline from the waterfront. A natural urge would be to be near the waterfront that surrounds this area, forces some to disregard signs that they cannot read in order to enjoy the sport of fishing. Sunbathing or relaxing with a good book with breezes from the river would be enticing to many. There are no recreational facilities for the young or the elderly, no beaches for bathing or use of the waterways for other activities.
The waterfront is sort of like a barren land right now, so the more access you can have, the more people actually doing things. See, the life has left the waterfront when, I guess when the Brooklyn Eastern District closed down. So the community comes down in the summertime because it's nice to be on the waterfront.
There's more.
So, you know, more concern is taken up. But I think when there's more life and more things happening there, the waterfront will flourish again.
Muñeca, quiero que me perdone. Muñeca, te no lo hablo más. Me encontraste en los brazos de otra neta. Por eso mismo.
Standing here on North 7th Street. My name is Andy Van Clunen. I'm one of the founders of Neighbors Against Garbage with my son Malcolm. And although this struggle started before Malcolm was born, in large ways for him and his older sister and other folks who live in the neighborhood who wanted to have a nice waterfront to play on. And that was what why we got involved with this about 4 years ago. NAG was founded as a way to reclaim, I gotta spin around, reclaim our waterfront from garbage. A big garbage dump that was 2 blocks long back in 1994, and it was expanded to the 3rd block directly across the street from people's homes. And it was run by this mob guy who intimidated folks in the neighborhood, and people finally said enough is enough, and they were more intimidated by the environmental impact of the garbage than they were by the guy's strong-arm tactics. And we realized that to fight that, it wasn't going to be enough to be doing polite petitioning and appeals to our political officials. We had to get out in the streets and show that we were angry enough that we weren't going to be intimidated by a mobster or satisfied with lackluster policymaking. So that was why we formed NAG, and we formed it proudly with the idea that we were going to be out in the streets organizing people to take back the waterfront.
All right, I'd like to introduce some folks who have been working with us on this issue. First is Assemblyman Joe Lenthal.
Yeah, all right, Joe.
Hey.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you to Neighbors Against Garbage. Thank you to all of my friends from the North Side in Williamsburg for showing up today for this beautiful street festival. There are going to be happier times because we are going to beat the city, we are going to beat the state, and we are going to beat USA Waste, and there's going to be a park on the waterfront.
The governor of the state of New York was in Greenpoint only a few weeks ago and made a commitment. He made a commitment that he would revisit the issue of our piers for a park. I know that I am going to hold him to that, and I hope that you will as well.
As most of you know, I'm a Greenpoint girl. I've lived here all my life, and it means a lot to me, too, to see that waterfront develop, not as a garbage dump, but as a pier and as a place to walk down to and see that great skyline. It's a beautiful place, so that it means a lot to every one of us living here, and we'd be a fool if we'd give up this property to garbage.
But we do need you, and we need a lot more of you. We need each one of you go back and tell your neighbors, look, write a postcard. Just say, we don't want garbage, we want a pier. We don't want garbage, we want a park.
I can honestly say that the borough president will work with the people of Greenpoint and Williamsburg to help develop the waterfront in this area and to make Willie's dream come true.
Congresswoman perspective, she commits herself to working with everyone, especially the politicians and the local community leaders, to ensure that a waterfront that is accessible to the Greenpoint and Williamsburg community is rebuilt. We will make that commitment to you.
The real tragedy is that you don't have access to the waterfront. I mean, the real tragedy is that it takes a tragedy to get attention to an issue like this. I'm sure that Joe Lenthal talked about it, but I wanted you to know how frustrating it is when the governor signs an agreement that says that this neighborhood deserves a waterfront park, and then when Joe Lenthal and Marty Connor put $10 million up to make that reality happen, and then George Pataki vetoed the money. And we'll be back at this again and again and again and again and again. I have been talking this issue up everywhere that I go. I'm being a group of people from Manhattan. They got this wonderful park plan for the Hudson River. I've told them I want to know why we can't have the same thing right here in Brooklyn. We need it just as much as they do, perhaps even more.
We don't have any parks here in Brooklyn.
That's right, and we're going out next week with a group of people to show them some newspaper reporters and say to them that we need this also. So what I would say to all of you is keep up the hope, keep up the fight. Make sure that you keep writing letters, not just to Joe and to Marty and to Nydia, myself, although that's very important because it keeps it right on the front burner for us. But please, write to the governor and the mayor. Call the governor and the mayor's office and tell them you're fed up, you deserve better, and we're going to get it done one way or the other. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
It's a violent conflict with traffic growth in the future of Brooklyn's waterfront. It is unacceptable that the city and state agencies would even consider placing the largest garbage transfer station on the East Coast at the same location that has been dedicated for open space.
That new one on the water?
Look out there right now, even the shape it's in, people still risk their lives to go out there and fish because there's nowhere else to go in this neighborhood. They have everything fenced off. You can't even get to the waterfront.
Our club ideas is to practice in that water, in particular here, because it's less rough, it's more calm, and it will be really, really enjoyable for kayakers and like building a marina, a little dock, and I think that will be a great idea.
Oh! We found everything from recycled materials to pants to clothing to you name it, we found it.
Mike found a belt.
Mike found a what?
A belt.
A belt?
He's looking for a pair of pants too.
Okay. We found awnings. We found
a lot of potential.
Polish candy wrappers, Hispanic cheese wrappers. We got non-denominational, non-racial garbage dumpers. So this is our first cleanup weekend here on, what is it, George? February 20th? 19th, Saturday?
February 20th.
February 20th.